Today, our prayer volunteer is Scott Diamond. And Scott has been in the Masterful Living community for several years. He's attended many of Jennifer's retreats. And he is, as Jennifer describes, a stalwart member of our community and a dedicated facilitator in our prayer room. I'm blessed to have Scott in my class, Ascension Pathway, with me in Masterful Living. Scott, are you here?
I'm right here. Can you
Great.
see me? Okay. You see my shirt? Love is my superpower. Okay.
Beautiful.
All right. Thank you for that wonderful introduction. And thank you for all the gifts that you bring here too, Lori. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Scott. I'm just going to spotlight you.
Okay.
So that you can pray us in. All right, so now everyone will be able to see your Love is My Superpower t-shirt.
Okay. I think I have to scroll down a little more. Okay. All right. So I'm putting my hand on my heart. I invite you to do the same. I like to ground my feet on the earth to feel the love and the support of the Mother Earth. And I invite you to do the same. Can you hear me okay? Okay. Okay. And now as I breathe in, I'm breathing in God's love. God is breathing into us. Feel God's breath. As you inhale, God is exhaling. Feel it course through your body. Feel God's love so strong. And as we exhale and let go of the day or evening or wherever we are and all of our worries, Jesus puts his hand on our shoulder and takes all our worries away. All the worries, all the illness, it all goes away. And we breathe in. And God, I'm so thankful and grateful for this opportunity to be here. So thankful and grateful for all my friends here. For all the people who I thought were not my friends, who truly were my teachers. So thankful and so grateful. I offer up anything that would keep me from speaking your voice. I declare now you are speaking through me. I sit back and let you lead as I share this benefit with all and begin to pray. God, may we remember that God is love, you are love, and so are we. May each of us tell ourselves, God is love, and so am I. May we feel this love deeply within our hearts. So deeply, this is the truth of us. This is our true identity. May we remember the divinity in ourselves and see the divinity in all. In those who look different than us, speak different than us, think different than us. God has many races. God has many faces. God's place is in our hearts. May we see the divinity in all people, even those who start to trigger us. May we unite together in this service. So thankful and grateful to be here. God, as you speak through Gerald, through his words, and Andrea through her music. So thankful and grateful as we all unite our hearts together and come together for one purpose, and that is love. To break through all divisions and to unite together as we have a healing service dropping from our heads into our hearts. We call in all ascended masters. We call in all our spirit guides, God, angels. May we all feel divinely supported as we begin this beautiful service. And so it is. Amen.
Amen. What a beautiful prayer. Thank you so much for sharing that with us, Scott. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, so beautiful. And today, our musical guest is Andrea Lane. Andrea, Jennifer tells me that you were one of the first people to be in her Masterful Living course when she brought that into being. You were one of the first people in that course when she offered it. And Jennifer's known Andrea for years. She's one of Jennifer's favorite musicians ever. And she wanted me to let you know that she's sorry that she's not here today, Andrea, and she knew that you would understand. I'll just share a little bit about Andrea. Andrea is described as a rock star for God by Dr. Michael Beckwith. And along with her partner, they make music together. Her husband, Billy Shank, not only backs her on the guitar, but he is a Center for Spiritual Living practitioner with a fresh, practical approach to the New Thought, Ancient Wisdom philosophy. Together, both of them, Andrea and Billy, define the new breed of New Thought light workers. And they write original, high vibration music and facilitate powerful workshops. They raise the vibration everywhere they go. So welcome, Andrea. Would you like to share a song with us?
Yes, thank you. Hi, you guys. I'm Andrea, and this is Billy on guitar. Thank you for having us. And we're going to start off with a song called Get Together. Love is but a song we sing, fear is the way we die. You can make the mountains rain or make the angels cry. Love is on the way. You may not know why. Come on, people now, smile on your brother. Everybody get together. Try and love one another right now. Some may come and some may go. We will surely pass. When the one who left us here, we return to our last. We are but a moment's sunlight fading into the grass. Come on, people now, smile on your brother. Everybody get together. Try and love one another right now. Come on, people now, smile on your brother. Everybody get together. Try and love one another right now. If you hear the song I sing, you will understand. Oh, the key to love and fear is there in your trembling hand. Just one key unlocks them both. It's there at your command. Come people now, smile on your brother. Everybody get together, try and love one another right now. Come on, people now, smile on your brother. Everybody get together, try and love one another right now. Come on, people now, smile on your brother. Everybody get together, try and love one another right now. Right now.
Oh, wow, Andrea, thank you so much. What a beautiful song. Oh, what a blessing. Thank you. All right. Such a beautiful song, so timely and perfect. So once again, my name's Lori, and I am filling in for Jennifer today. Her travel plans got switched up a little, and I'm blessed to be here helping to welcome all of our lovely, lovely guests offering their beautiful gifts to us. Today, I have the honor of announcing our guest speaker, Gerald Collins. Gerald is a longtime course student and author. And fun fact that Jennifer shared with me on the phone this morning was that she knows him from the Agape community, and she actually wrote a foreword to one of his books. Gerald is someone that sees himself as both the teacher and the student. And he has been both in many relationships. He's been an Agape practitioner since 1997 and a community activist. He has a master's in business administration and is a past certified public accountant. He's been a college, high school, grammar school teacher, and youth church teacher, and is a healer via God's Holy Spirit. He's written 8 books about God after a financial management career, and his next release is scheduled for December of 2020. Welcome, Gerald. Are you there, Gerald? There you are. Welcome.
Okay. And you hear me okay?
We can, yes. And is there a way to share your video?
Well, let me attempt some things. Video. I'm looking at myself live, but I see a screenshot on my screen as well. So let me switch webcams.
There should be a little icon on the bottom with it looks like a video camera, and there's probably a red diagonal line through it. You just want to click on that so that we can see you.
Well, when I hit that one.
There you go. There you are.
Okay. All right.
Well, welcome. Yeah.
First of all, I'm going to say how grateful I am to be here. I have known Jennifer for quite a while. We have been in some of her classes. That's been a while ago. But I've always enjoyed her. And actually, my first 2 books, the 2 that have come out in hard copy, she has an article in one of them in exhibits. And then she has the foreword in the second one. And the second one is called God's Holy Spirit. each book I was asked to write. However, after that, I just somehow got started. At one time, I was writing 4 books at the same time. Who would have thought that? But I was, and then somehow all of them got completed. And now I'm bringing one out about every 6, 8 months or so, in hard copy. There are 6 of them are on the Kindle, and 2 of them are out in hard copy, and they can be found on my website, which is geraldcollins.com. However, this day is very special for me because, well, Jennifer is a Course in Miracles teacher and student as well. And we're not in touch a lot, but somehow we stay in touch. Don't try to figure that out. I won't. I want to start with the first page of the first chapter in Course in Miracles. And it's the paragraph 7 where it says, miracles are everyone's right, but purification is necessary first. Now, I tie that in as well with what Jesus said in the Bible about having a single eye. Now, somehow this will make sense. Stay with me. So we're talking about purification. We're saying it's everyone's right. Purification, single eye. I'll start with a story where I had asked, I was reading some other part of the course. I asked the Holy One, I said, this little sentence here is well up in the book, where he says, you cannot tie people to your ego and really do this. And I said to myself, I said to the Holy One, this doesn't make sense to me. I don't really understand it. And this is after having a long lifetime relationship with this being, knowing there's only one power, only one energy, only one presence. So I'll use the words male, female, it, everything around God, but it's a loving thought and comment because I am mad about this fella. I use the word fella, I'll use woman, I'll use it, I'll use everything, but I'm still talking about that single energy that encompasses everything. And the Bible speaks of this as God is omnipresent. Think of that, everywhere present. So essentially, there is nothing else. So whatever I'm seeing, apparently God's not seeing it that way. And this is how I was taught that. I'd say it was approximately 2013. I was in Chicago. Right now I'm in Los Angeles, or a city just south of Los Angeles called Inglewood. And I was driving along the street. I remember I was going north. And I looked at this woman, and she was on my right. But essentially, she was on the sidewalk. And we were going in the same direction, except I was in a lot of traffic, so she was headed about the same speed I was headed. And every once in a while, traffic would loosen a little bit, and I'd move ahead. But then she'd catch up, and I kept, wow. For some reason, I kept looking over there, heading in the same direction, always catch up with me. And so one time I looked and I said, looking at a lady with a kind of dirty dress on. She's pulling a shopping cart. She has a look on her face like she's not very happy. And she looks a little bit overdressed. It's kind of a warm day. So I speed up, and she catches up again. I look over and I'm thinking, and this is not a nice thought, but I was thinking bag lady. Not something God would see. So then the voice finally spoke up, said, look at that. Oh, my most glorious possession. Talked about how beautiful and incredible she was. And I was thinking, oh God, I'm thinking bag lady. I'm not really very far along in this. And I had been in the course at least 6 years at that time. And I had taught some live classes here in Los Angeles or around Los Angeles. And at that time, I had started teaching it on the phone because a group of people got together and said, we'd like you to, even though you're moving to Chicago, this is right before I left Los Angeles, we'd like you to continue to teach us, and we'll meet you on the phone somewhere. So that's been going on since 2013. And I'm saying, okay. I'm seeing bag lady. Spirit is seeing something else. That then reminds me of how in the Bible Jesus says, pluck out your eyes, cut off your ears. Now, of course, I wouldn't pluck out my eyes, nor would I cut off my ears. But he's saying, now there he's mentioning two senses, but all the five senses the body uses just will not be in my favor in this. So I've got to learn to trust. I've got to learn to trust Holy One and say, whatever you see, that's what's really taking place. But if I see, until I get a little further along, we'll just accept what you see. Because I know there's only one power. That is the Spirit itself. And it is looking at itself. So it would never hurt itself. And somehow this body thing must be dealt with. This is another course term. It says, I am not a body. I am free. I am as my Father created me. I'm as my Spirit created me. Now again, it's not talking about this body, but the body is perishable. It's temporary. God is not perishable, nor is God temporary. So things God created last forever. So I'm the Spirit who shall last forever. However, of course, I like the body to be taken care of, and I like to have some fun. Then before that, he'd given me several experiences where he showed me how much fun spirit is. That is, not just fun, awesomely fun. Now, I'll say this, accept this as you please. I remember telling someone that God is more fun than sex. And I said that to someone at the time I was married. I would not say it to my wife. We're no longer married, but I loved her dearly. And I love spirit dearly. Sometimes I've tried to see a difference, but there really was no difference. There's only one spirit, and I shall rise to its level of love as I continue to grow. And that's forever, forever. So you can say I may come back here in some other form in some other part of the planet. I don't know. Let's just say somehow forever, I'm going to be doing this. Then it gives me these, let's call it these experiences where there's just me and God. Now I'll mention that. This happened well before the course. I was only like 4 years of age. No, fourth grade. I was living in Chicago, lived in a ghetto, let's call it that. I was on the playground of this school I was going to. And I was running around with all these kids and suddenly, whoosh, all the kids disappeared. I'm sitting there saying, uh-oh, or standing there saying, what is this? I was having a vision. Didn't know what one was. But I stood there saying, okay, let's see what happens now. Then this voice starts speaking. I didn't see anything. There's myself and this voice. And it said, oh, I love you so much. I said, oh, that feels good. Because it kind of vibrated the whole body. And I said, then he said it again, I just love you so much. And I said, ooh, pain. And suddenly all the kids showed up again. I started running around the playground. Later that night, I pulled into a little corner of this little project apartment we were living in. And I said, okay, I bet you say that to everyone. And the voice says, but you heard me. I said, okay, didn't really know what that meant. But somehow this inkling was coming through that this fella or this being was God. And over my lifetime, I've heard it in many ways. It wasn't until probably the college years I began to recognize that fella is God. He's doing stuff. He's telling me stuff before it happens. He's guiding me, and I don't always listen. He doesn't seem to get mad if I don't listen, but he does pay attention when I do listen. And he doesn't talk a lot until sometimes we'll have a real conversation. And I'm not always trusting when we're just talking back and forth, because I'm talking nothing. And I remember my parents going back those years would say, you need to stop talking to yourself so much. Now, I love my mother. My father later became a minister. Loved him dearly. But I really was not going to start talking to this fellow. We We have ball. We have a ball together. Just the two of us. And then when somehow I get someone else to join in, it amps it up a little further. Understand that, please, somehow. So I've dealt with this bag lady that I see, and she never said anything to me. I never said anything to her. That's been years ago, 13 years ago now. And now I come to the point where I was doing a service project at Agape, or away from Agape, and I was the driver that day. I think, yeah, that marriage had ended. That was my second marriage. Anyway, this woman got in the front seat. So, and my two children were in the back seat. And I said, okay, you ready? She said, yeah, she's ready. So I put in the drive, and I noticed she didn't buckle her seatbelt. I said, are you going to buckle your seatbelt? She says, nah, I'm practicing defenselessness today. Now, being a Course in Miracles student, let's see, when was this? Well, no matter, somewhere 2009 or whatever. I said, I know what that means. She's practicing being fearless. And when you're in the presence of God, and God is flowing through everything, and you may not feel that. And by the way, you're not a body. You're part of that everywhere present spirit. And it's the more you can extend yourself outside this thing, that's where I say it. The more I extend myself out. So I'm saying, in many of my books, I say, I shall love more deeply, and I shall love more broadly. And so this woman's practicing defensiveness, and some weeks later, I wrote an essay about it. And I remember sending it to the Agape practitioner who was handling the essays at the time. And she sent it back saying, well, that lady was breaking the law. I can't publish this. I said, I did a nice little note saying, well, if you think about Mahatma Gandhi, Jesus, go down the list. All of them have spent some time possibly in jail. And all of them are awesome speakers or people who demonstrate the love of God. So I let it go, didn't say anything else. Next thing I know, I see the article in the Agape publication. I said, wow, I guess she changed her mind. Anyway, that's defenselessness. Remember, you're in heaven, and consider heaven, God, this presence, all of it, one. It's not a place. Heaven is all there is. So as I walk around earth, I'm walking through an illusion, something that does not exist, no matter how good, how bad. And of course, I would like to experience. I enjoyed the incredible good. That's what the Course calls the happy dream that the Holy Spirit provides. But I somehow participate and learn more as I kind of bump along. And I've had some periods where it's just been, let's just say, a little interesting. And I'll mention one of them right now. I had driven up to a gas station. I had 80 cents in my pocket. And I'm going to buy 80 cents worth of gas. So I go up to the attendant and I say, I need 80 cents worth of gas. This guy looks at me like, are you kidding? Gas was at least 3 something per gallon. I'm buying much less than a gallon. And he says, anyway, some other guy is listening. And he says, I'll give you 20 cents. This other guy was, you might call him a beggar. Now, again, I'm remembering what I see is not really there. I'm in the presence of God always, no matter what's happening. So he gives me 20 cents. I buy $1 worth of gas. Then I go over to my car, and he follows me. He says, you want me to pump your gas? I say, you just gave me 20 cents. I've got something for you. So I give this guy, I go into my trunk. I open the trunk, and there's these 2 shopping bags full of gifts. Now, someone had given me both shopping bags, and they were gifts of hair care products, skin care products, all kinds of body care products. So I put a bunch of them out, several of the bags, and put it in another bag and gave it to him. He said, "Oh man, this is at least $200 worth of stuff." I said, "Well, you think that's a good deal for 20 cents?" He says, "Oh, of course it is." So again, another experience of whatever I'm looking at, not really there. So I've got to grow. I've got to grow. And of course, later he told me that's one of my primary purposes: growth, expansion, excuse me. And of course, and if you look at what a spirit is, again, it's everywhere, ev- everywhere present, everywhere powerful, omnipotent, omniscient, everywhere wise, all knowing. So kind of compared to like my mind is a drop in the bucket. Spirit is the entire ocean. Now, which mind do you want to use? I'm telling you, the other one, how I get there, which I'm not really too clear on yet, but I must purify my mind. In the Bible, Jesus calls this having a single eye. Now, I've got two of them. So it's not really talking about my five senses. It's talking about the truth. There's nothing here but God, regardless of what circumstances are. Now we move to my daughter owns a beauty salon, and we share a house together, which she owns. And well, she brought the virus home back in April. And I'm taking care of her and doing all this stuff. And by the way, Agape is the spiritual center that Jennifer and I both were volunteering through at one point. It still exists. It's in Beverly Hills. And I just realized, wow, one morning I woke up and I was in a hospital. Apparently I'd come out of a coma. And there was this woman coming at me with a Q-tip in her hand. And these two guys held me back and held my head. And she stuck this thing up my nose as if she was going to go through my nostril and all the way up into my brain to get whatever she's after. And I'm just waking up trying to get my bearings straight. And that Q-tip test was, well, let's just say, for those who haven't taken the test, there's other ways of taking, but that was not pleasurable. So she left and all the guys left the room. So I'm laying there, still pulling my bearings together. I'm saying, God, I guess I'm in a hospital room. Ooh, I don't know how long I've been here. Anyway, then this woman walks back in the room and she says, well, your doctor says we're going to admit you to the hospital. And I think for a moment, I said, no, I don't. I'd rather you just send me home. If you would send me home, I would really appreciate that. And I noticed I was very calm and nicely saying this to this lady. And so she left the room. She comes back and says, but you came here in an ambulance. How are you going to get home? I said, I'll give you my daughter's phone number. She'll call Uber or Lyft or somebody and they'll come get me and I'll go home. She says, okay. She goes back and sees the doctor. Now, I've never met this doctor. I don't know who he is. I had a sense of what hospital it might be in, but I wasn't really sure. Didn't matter to me. I want to go home. But I was very careful how I was saying that. So she comes back in the room and says, well, the doctor says you can go home. Give me your daughter's number. I'll call her and she can call some driver and they'll pick you up and off you go. She says, oh, by the way, you don't have any clothing here either. We got to put something on you and gowns and you take it with you. I said, okay, that'll be fine. Now I'm leaving the hospital. A guard is in front of me, getting everyone out of the way. It's like I'm the walking death. And I'm kind of in pain, but I'm laughing through the whole matter. And I get outside and the driver's not there yet. And I said, well, I'll just try to find a place with some shade and just wait. The driver finally came. I got in, it was a woman, and I had a mask on, she had a mask on. I got in the back seat, careful not to look straight at her in her eye or even look up much. She knew my address, so she took me home. I was really said a little prayer underneath my tongue for her in her situation, picking up a guy in the middle of the coronavirus. This was April 20th, 2020. I was born April 21st, so I know my birthday was the very next day. Not that it mattered to me. I'm an infinite being, whatever that means. At this point, this body is somehow, sometimes seems to take a lot of my attention. But I'm clear that this body is not what I am. But I do have to take care of it, to wash it, feed it, clothe it, whatever I have to do with it. But a lot of times I try to pull my attention into the vastness of everything. As the Course says, from where the body is to the furthest star, you're in all that space and then some. Imagine that. Anyway, so I get home and that virus was painful. And one day I took some NyQuil that would put me to sleep so I wouldn't have to feel that pain. And I did. Slept maybe 4 or 5 hours. So I had a little break, but I had to wake up and then deal with it. Then I said, well, Holy One has told me a few things that we're going to do together. They're not done yet. So death is not an option here. So I'm good. I'm good. I just need to deal with this fever and this pain. And every once in a while, my daughter, who was still suffering with the virus, would scream, make sure you take your Tylenol or whatever I was taking. I didn't take any medications for the virus at the time. Never did. But I started to get better, started to walk, started to get around. But the virus is no joke. And one time I don't know if you call this a date. I was spending a lot of time with this woman. Her name was Harriet. And she and I prayed together a lot. We played a lot of games. She loves Scrabble. And so she called me from a hospital. She says, Gerald, I'm in a hospital. My mother's in a hospital. I need you here. As soon as you can get here. I think about what I'm doing and I said, got to take care of Harriet. I said, Harriet, I'll get there as quickly as I can. Tell me at the hospital and dress and all that. Anyway, I got there. I get to the hospital room. Harriet's in the room. There's another woman near the window. And Harriet's mother's in the center of the room. And both patients are I felt some energy that was, let's just say it wasn't true. Presence of God is the only energy there is. It is incredible and whatever. So I walk, and Harriet finally knows me. Says, oh, come in. I need you in here. I need you. I said, okay. She said, say a prayer. Do something about this, whatever's going on here. I said, well, I feel a song. Matter of fact, I feel a chant. And she says, whatever it is, do something. I said, okay. So I said, close my eyes. I said, Om Bhur Bhuva Swaha Tattvaturvarinyam Bargo de Vashyadi Mani Yo Yona Pracho Dayat. Now, let me tell you something else before I did open my eyes. I'll tell you what happened right after that. But Harriet was an outstanding opera singer who, let's say she was a teacher and was leaving the teaching profession, ready to step out there and just sing. And I had gone to one of her performances and, well, this woman could sing. So I had the courage to sing around Harriet. Anyway, when I opened my eyes, the woman near the window, sound asleep. Harriet's mother, sound asleep. Harriet sitting there in this field of goodness. And she looks at me, she says, let's play some games. I said, okay. I cut out some things, so I've got some time. So of course we played Scrabble. Harriet's at that time was a language arts teacher. So I'm playing against a language arts teacher. And I had to hold my own. I couldn't let her just, clean up the Scrabble game with me. And believe it or not, most times I won. And she'd always say, how do you do this? because my language skills aren't nowhere near Harriet's. And a couple of times, Spirit has told me, Jerry, you need to stop doing it. You know, you really help this woman see how great she is. Not, you know, win sometimes, lose sometimes, whatever. But that brings me to another story. I used to go to this park. Oh my God. And there was this guy there. He was the park director, and he was near where Agape was at the time. And I'm going to the park, and the Spirit in me starts laughing. Oh my goodness, look at you. And he was just laughing so hard. And I'm saying, okay, what is it I'm doing? He said, you're going to see this gentleman whose name doesn't come to me right now. I said, he and I have, you know, differences of opinion, but I love this guy, man. I love this guy. I know he was Hawaiian and whatever he was, but we have a lot of differences. I would never really get angry. I don't think he'd get angry, but for example, the first time Agape won, that's going back 2007 or something, he says, no way Agape's going to win. And I'm saying, I mean, no way Obama was going to win that first election. I said, things I've read say otherwise, but, you know, I'm not really that big in elections. I'll vote, whatever, but whatever. In any event, of course, Obama cleaned up. Not that that really mattered that much to me. It's a good thing. First African-American male to be president of the United States. But of course, I'm going to see this gentleman after that, and we're going to have some interesting discussions about whatever comes up. But I'm conscious now, this is the presence of God I'm dealing with here. And I must be conscious of the awesomeness that he is. And he'd always point some things out to me that would be of some use if I pay attention. So he was peeking through as the presence. And I'm not to judge that. He is the presence. There's no question about that. But the gentleman would always point some things out. And I'd always catch some things that I'd say, wow. In spite of the fact that we seem to be on opposite ends of the pendulum, he's the presence of God, I'm the presence of God. We're both living in this illusion, and we're being caught by it, probably too often. Especially myself, claiming myself to be a teacher and a student. And by the way, you don't get to say when you're a preacher, when you're a student. Sometimes it's afterwards I realize I was more a student that time, or a teacher, or whatever. But wonderful things were happening. I mean, incredible things were happening. When he started coming from places that I didn't plan it to come from, things just start lifting me because I'm starting to expand my awareness of what I am, who I am, however I'm going to do it. Now that's the thing. I began to feel only holiness can do this with me. And that is the true me. Jesus or Christ, God, Buddhic field, whatever you want to call it. It expands across everything. And these eyes sometimes have seen it. A few times my eyesight has been just totally taken away. And this one particular time I'm thinking about now, I was walking toward my home and I couldn't see anything up there, but I could see the sidewalk. And I could hear voices placing. I said, I live in that direction. But this feeling is oh so amazing. I'm like, oh, I'm just loving this. As I was walking toward the house, I finally realized, you know, at this pace, I'll never get there. Boom, my eyes came back. I said, oh, I didn't mean it that way. But it still felt kind of good. I said, okay, that's good. I'll take it. Went home and some other wonderful things occurred. But remember, the presence of God is everywhere. And a single eye, even though these eyes may not always see that, the single eye is saying, God is all there is. There is nothing else. And this is what God sees. The Holy Spirit here sees. And using the Christian language is what the Christ sees, or the Buddhic field, or whatever language we use. Of course, 4,000 years before both of them, there was this presence called Krishna. And these three, Buddha, Jesus, Krishna, are men, but they're ladies as well. And I tell you, I'm about to honor these ladies. They do some things that Men don't have to deal with that. For example, give birth. Now, one of my children, I did kind of have these daily periods of, oof, they weren't that much fun. Um, and women also have that monthly thing, which we must give some respect to. So they're going through some change, some struggle, which men generally not known to have to go through, but we have our issues that we have to deal with. And by the way, one time my holiness and I talk. Sometimes I go periods of time without asking many questions. But this one particular time, I remember I was standing on some corner and I said, okay, the body has issues, not me. What are some of these issues? Boom, suddenly this vision popped in my head. I closed my eyes for a second just to get a better view of it. And this being was standing there with a wallet. And opened the wallet and a bunch of pictures flowed all the way, but they were connected to plastic. So all of those were my issues. Okay, those are the body's issues. Those are not my issues. So as long as I lean in holiness, and everyone decides how they can do that, or whatever spirit you choose. But the spirit itself is everywhere, flowing through everyone. I would often say, I joke with some person who I knew who lived during that period, a Danish woman who had to deal with Hitler, and she could not stand Hitler. I told her once, I said, Hitler's in heaven too, when he was here and when he left. Heaven is all there is. So the spirit is both, it has no form, but it will bring forms to you as you lean into this presence. And sometimes you have to be in the moment, what's called in the Course, the holy instant, to just notice these things occurring. If your mind is way up in the future or way back there in the past somewhere, you're not there. And that is where you do not wish to be. You can, let's call it, experience some very unpleasant things. And most of us grew up having been trained by sometimes great human parents, not parents at all sometimes, but that doesn't matter when I remember this is the presence that is always available, always here. And in the Course it says, vision on the earth, the Course came out in 1975 originally. Vision on the earth is rather dim. So and the Course also says, I shall build my church on you. Let's call that your mind. And let's go back again and think about that human mind versus the mind of spirit. And we have to deal with the human mind. We'll deal with it in every way we choose. But remember, there's a whole lot more than these five senses will experience. And when you have those periods of, they can last 4 days, they can last 10 seconds. I haven't been able to figure out when it, and I've said to spirit, if you can just do that a couple, 3, 4 times a year, I'm with you forever. And of course, I don't have a choice. I'm always going to be with this being forever, as is every race, every sex, every whatever. We're opening up a light that is beaming and spreading, and we're experiencing without seeing it, that just takes care of us. Remember, we live, move, and have our beingness in God, in holiness, in Christ. Whatever spirit you want to choose, that's where you are. That's what you are. And you may expand it. Expansion is fun. Trust holiness fun. He told me expansion is fun. Expansion is where I get more of the joy, the incredible peace, where I know everything is just fine. And eyes begin to see a few things at times. And so, yes, you want to expand your awareness of the presence of God. And the experiences you'll have may be different from mine. There'll be patterned exactly for who you are, where have you been. And as you begin to put them together, I journal a lot. At least I used to a whole lot. I don't do that as much as I used to, but I've just started a new corporation, 2 corporations actually, and one is a nonprofit, and I'm applying right now for a $10 million grant, which won't, no, they say it won't be available till next summer. But I'm pulling together 4 parties who are listening, saying, we like what you're saying here. Let's keep up this conversation. And I'm offering things right now, and right now, in terms of looking at my books or buying a book, now my website is not acting right. I'll get to it. So you can contact me through geraldcollins.com. But this is not about me. Most of the website has a lot of free data, information, blogs. Then the book section, I tested it recently and I couldn't buy a book, so you probably can't buy a book. But it will pull you to, well, 6 books. It'll pull you to Amazon, where you can, get an ebook. Not that that matters. Take advantage of the 7 days of prayer, the daily ideas about high thoughts. Play a little game there. The answers are on another page, but you can play the game and look at the answers and go back to the page and go back and forth a little bit. And every once in a while, I take the time to look at I don't see names, I see what country these people are in who are looking at the site. But I'm going to fix it. I'll get to it. It's not just the grant, it's the for-profit corporation, all the people I'm bringing into this thing. And right now, I am the only employee. And this thing is going to have a film division, a book division, a comedy division. Oh, that's going to be fun. And a music division. And all these people are listening, kind of saying, oh, that sounds kind of interesting. And I'm saying, oh, hold it one. I know it's going to get done in some way or form. And I'd done it before at a church. It wasn't agape. And this church probably reaped huge amounts of money. I say, well, $50 million over 8-year period or so. And I didn't work there. I did come to work there later. Now I think of it. But I had just asked this employer of mine, this bank I'd worked for, the fires had just, the civil unrest had happened in LA. That's 1992. Then 18 months later, that earthquake hit Northridge. And so LA is really, and I said, look, I just can't go to work every day. And so my bank gave me a day off every week to pick some community development organization and go to work. Didn't have to come to work. I paid my full salary. Didn't come in on Sundays or Saturdays or anything like that. Somehow got it all done. But whoa, what a journey. Because in that period, I was suffering from what was called depression, which caused that second wife to say, I don't know if you're the one. She had somehow accepted the American dream, thought she needed to have a big house and all this stuff. When that marriage ended, she had told me, well, I think you need to move. And I said, I really love this. She says, I need to move. And I know her. Some other things have happened, which says, I need to move. Let's not get this. I'm okay. Let me do as best I can to help her before I leave. So I rearranged her stock portfolio. And then I had an experience in the prayer room where some woman had called. She was going through a divorce. And she mentioned how one of her children had attempted a suicide as the child watched the 2 parents fight over the household assets. Ooh, I'm just going to walk out of this house. Maybe a suitcase or 2. As much as I can carry. And she's got everything else. Well, it was an apartment. And she then called me back and said, I've got a new apartment. Will you help me move? Of course, I said yes. And I do not like moving. But I did come, and not a lot of people came. And I met her new boyfriend. Great guy. In fact, we got to spend some time together, and we got to really like one another. Now, of course, it has nothing to do with him. She had made these decisions, have gathered all this help, and I know her. She has to have a boyfriend. And so I'm out of the picture, this new guy, and he's a wonderful guy. One time he gave me a ride somewhere after I didn't have a car that particular day. And when we got to this house, he said, whoa, who lives here? I said, I probably shouldn't tell you that. He said, can I pick you up? I said, no, I'll get home okay. He said, ooh, you look at the house, and he didn't know all the other things that were going on in that place. It was pretty awesome. The guy had been a pro football player, I recall. Anyway, the point is, he left me there and took off, and I went in to tutor the young man. I was being paid to tutor this man. I was his math tutor. And the father had asked me, why don't you take over this subject and that subject and this subject too? And although that's the father, I would talk to the son as well. And the son would say, I don't know. You don't really give me the answer, but you make me find the answers. His grades skyrocketed. He did very well. So I went back to the father and said, yeah, I don't know if this other subject would work for him. I'll take a bit more of my time here. And he doesn't really seem to be that interested, but he's enjoying what his math grades are doing. So anyway, be interested in growing. Be interested in knowing the body, as the Course says. And I still appreciate the Bible. I appreciate the Bhagavad Gita. I appreciate the Holy Quran. Course in Miracles is pretty special in some ways in that it talks to you directly. Tells you each day what you are to consider. And do not have a workshop or anything coming up right now. I'm working on these corporations and a number of other things, but books coming out in December, hopefully a little earlier than that, probably not until a month after that. Who knows? It'll come out when it comes out. I've done most of what I need to do for it, and this publisher is doing their work. And I've got 5 more books already completed to go through that process, and I plan on doing one every 8 months or so.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Gerald.
GeraldCollins.com. Thank you so very much. Really appreciate my being here.
Thank you so much, Gerald. Thank you for that beautiful, beautiful message. Oh, just sinking into that. Purification is everyone's right. Just taking a moment, seeping into that, allowing ourselves to lean into the presence, closing our eyes, placing our hands on our heart, leaning into that presence that's always available. We can start by just breathing into this vehicle that we've been given. And as you breathe into this vehicle, imagine your awareness extending past that, past what your eyes see. Breathing into the true body that you are part of, the body of God. You don't have to know how. Just be willing to allow yourself to breathe into that awareness. Knowing that you are God expressing itself through you. Breathing into that expanded awareness. Breathing into the you that Spirit sees. And breathing into Spirit's version of you. Knowing that you are God's most glorious possession. Breathing into that awareness. Steeping into that all-knowing presence that's always there, always available. And as we allow that message to fully seep in and steep into our hearts, Andrea, would you be willing to share another song?
Yes.
Thank
Yes.
you.
We're gonna lift it up a little bit. So if you feel like dancing, hey, you know what? Go right ahead. I love to dance. The more I'm grateful, the more I'm thankful, the more I have to be grateful for. I'm blessed, and you are too. You see me working with the law of attraction. The more I have to be grateful for. I'm blessed, and you are too. I'm blessed. Wow, 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 wow. I'm blessed. Wow, 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 wow. The more I'm loving, kind and forgiving, the more that others do the same for me. I'm blessed. You are too. The more I'm shining, feeling my glory, the more I know that everything's alright. I'm blessed. And you are too. I'm blessed. La, 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 la. I'm blessed. La, 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 la. You know what? You must act as if it's already done. I am acting as if it's already done. I'm blessed. Wow, 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 wow. You feel blessed? I'm blessed. Wow, 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 wow. The more I shine, feeling my glory, the more I know that everything's alright. I'm blessed. You are too. I'm blessed. Wow, 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 wow. I'm blessed. Wow, wow, wow. Here it is right here. You know what? You must act as if it's already done. I'm acting as if. I am acting as if it's already done. That's what Jesus did. He said, I am acting as if it's already done.
Yes, I feel blessed. What a fun song. Thanks for bringing that in, Andrea. So, so beautiful.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah.
Thank you. And I really, I'm a real huge fan of Reverend Jennifer Hadley. I love her so much, and her Master for Living class really changed my life. So I'm just grateful to be here. I'm grateful to be here, Billy. She even came to our wedding. So love her very much. Thanks for having us.
Yeah. Thank you so much for being here. So now we're going to do something that makes Sundays with Spirit special and unique. We're going to give each of you an opportunity to share in small groups. We call these breakouts. You don't have to share if you don't wish to. Listening with compassion is one of the greatest gifts you can offer. And in your breakout, here is what I'll invite you to discuss. 2 questions based on what Gerald was sharing with us today. First question is, how has someone else shown up as the presence of God for you? And the second one is, how have you shown up as the presence of God for someone else? So those are our 2 questions. How has someone showed up as the presence of God for you? And how have you shown up as the presence of God for someone else? So if you don't see the invitation to enter the breakout room, it's usually on the bottom bar of your screen. And if you have an issue finding it, pop out of this meeting and come right back in using our link, and that usually fixes the problem. Those of you that are on the phone will automatically be placed in the room without having to do that, and you can press *6 to unmute yourselves. So once again, there'll be an invitation on your screen to enter the breakout room. And Lana, are we ready?
Yes, we're ready.
Great, thank you so much. Gerald and Andrea, I'll ask you to stay here with me, as well as I saw Faith was here. If you're still here, Faith, if you want to stay here, that would be great. And we'll open up the rooms now. And we'll see everyone in about 18 minutes. Just give everyone a few minutes to go into the breakout rooms. And for those of you on Facebook Live, we're going to stay here and have a discussion with Andrea and Gerald. And for those of you that decide to stay in the main room, we're going to go ahead and ask you to turn off your video. Just giving everyone a little bit of time. Great. And let's see. I see that Gerald went into a room. Lana, could you have him come back to the main room, please?
Okay, I'll do that.
Thank you.
Lori, should I stay too?
If you would like, that would be wonderful, Scott. Thank you. So, Andrea, what did you think of Gerald's message?
Oh, I really enjoyed it. And I think I have seen him before at Agape, because I'm a longtime member and I have sung there. So no, I really enjoyed it. And I was so grateful that he was here today, and I'm glad he's healthy, back to his healthy self. Yes. Yes, he really was working the practice as he went through those challenges. So I'm really inspired by that.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Beautiful. I just love the thing that stuck out most to me was how he was talking about how Spirit thinks of us as my most glorious possession. And that those words just really, really touched my heart. And I started thinking about, you know, how do I see myself and how does Spirit see me? And what are the differences in that? And do you have any songs, Andrea, that talk about that?
That specifically, our next song is about God using me as, you know, the instrument as I walk through the world. That's what I had planned, but and trusting the guidance that, you know, we're given.
Yeah.
So yeah, and yeah, I just remember Master for Living was just so wonderful to keep me in the practice of, let's say, seeing with Spirit's eyes on a daily, hourly, minutely basis, you know, versus going off track, you know, now and then. So yeah, I'm really grateful for Jennifer Hadley and all her classes, and the Course of Miracles too. It's just so profound. And sometimes, honestly, I don't understand it all the way when I'm reading Course of Miracles, but I figure eventually I will understand it. Right?
I think part of that is just allowing, you know, I could read something and then go back to it tomorrow and read the same thing, and the next day and read the same thing, and something else will show up in that lesson each and every time for me. So yeah. Oh, it's just beautiful. And your music is so inspiring. It's so much fun. It gets people moving. Who are some of your inspirations?
Well, I am a big Ricky Byers fan. She really got me started singing at Agape and singing inspirational songs, because I was singing, you know, pop songs that were not always uplifting, but Ricky Byers got me into this inspirational side of it all. And, you know, Faith Rumor is a great singer too. I'm sure you guys know that.
Yes.
She's an inspiration. Yeah, so who else can I think of? You know, right now also I'm inspired by Lady Gaga, more about what she stands for, the courage and the boldness, than her lyrics. I mean, some of the songs, the lyrics are really awesome and profound. Some of them are a little darker, whatever. It's part of the human experience. But I was inspired also by John Lennon. Love him.
Mm-hmm.
Kate Bush, yeah, Billy reminded me. Kate Bush, yes, I just fell in love with her as a teenager, you know, and I would listen to her all the time, and with a really high soprano voice, and I would sing along.
Yeah, that is a reference I haven't heard since college, but I love Kate Bush. Yeah.
Yes. Now, are you in Los Angeles, or where are you located?
I'm actually on the East Coast in Wilmington, North Carolina.
Wow.
Yeah, right on the ocean. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
beautiful. Oh, yeah.
What were the first two songs that you sung? Would you speak a little bit about those songs and what inspired you to write those first two songs of yours?
Well, the first song I actually did not write. It was
Okay.
the first one was Yardbirds. Oh,
Okay.
sorry, Youngbloods wrote that first one, and way back in the 60s. And we do a completely different rendition of it. So I'm sure a few people recognized it, but our rendition is pretty different. But the second one, I'm Blessed, I wrote that one really for myself as a reminder when I'm out in the world and I'm walking around and something comes into my experience that is a challenge or whatever, I say, wait a minute, I'm blessed. And you know what? Wow, 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 wow. You know, if I add a little tag on there to make myself laugh, I like to laugh. Okay. It's a reminder. Yeah. A lot of the songs I write and my husband, we write together. It's about healing or reminders that we want in our daily lives. So we write them for ourselves, but then really other people connect with them because they want those reminders too. And I'm blessed. The more I'm grateful, the more I'm loving, the more I'm kind, the more that other people do the same thing for me. Same thing on the opposite end. The more I'm critical or judgmental, I'm gonna get that back too. So yes, it's a great reminder.
That's what I loved about listening to you, Andrea, is you would laugh during it, and that was one of my favorite parts. I could feel the joy in your songs, and it made me want to move because there was this absolute joy as the music was going through you. And one of my favorite things is to learn through laughter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've heard there's a thing called laughing yoga, I've heard.
Mm-hmm.
So,
there is.
Yeah.
There is. Maybe there can be some laughing sing-alongs that we can do as well.
And when I'm live, obviously since the lockdown, we've been online a lot, but when I'm live, I always get the audience singing along or laughing or standing up or moving something, you know. So yeah, but on Zoom it's like you're in your house all alone or you're in an apartment all alone, so go ahead and stand up and enjoy.
Exactly.
No one's going to watch you. Dance as if no one's watching. Right.
Yeah, we all have our own dance floors.
Yes.
Here. Exactly. Oh, I love that.
But and I was grateful to see your there was a lot of people on the service today. I was like, wow, you guys are doing really well. Congratulations.
Yeah, it has really grown. We have people that just love coming to Sundays with Spirit, and there's just such a good energy around it. It's just, you know, for years, Jennifer thought that she would, you know, like to do that. And then finally, but she wasn't feeling the nudge of when. And finally, when this happened, you know, when COVID-19 happened, it was the perfect opportunity to do this. It was it was just timing for something that would give everyone an opportunity to come together and share music and share messages and prayers.
Yes. We started doing weekly concerts when the lockdown happened. So we do those on Sundays. I think a lot of people were like, hey, we need to do something online here because we're all at home.
Where online do you offer that so that the people here, like, mention that later as well, but so the people on Facebook Live that are watching now, where can they find that and watch you if they would like to weekly?
Okay, I'll mention it. It's on my Facebook page, which is pretty easy to find. So I'll mention that. Yeah.
Please do.
Yeah, but yeah, your service is really off the hook. I'm just really grateful to be here. And I kind of miss, you know, her classes. I need to get back into one of her classes.
Well, we are in the midst of talking about what an alumni program would look like for people that would be interested in kind of dipping a toe back in. So stay tuned for that one.
That sounds good.
Yeah.
Now, are
Yeah.
you in any classes right now? Are you running classes or?
I am in Ascension Pathway. So,
Okay.
and also I am a certified spiritual counselor through her. So I'm able to offer that. And I work behind the scenes. I'm one of the women behind the curtain that helps
Awesome.
with everything so that the community is served. So yeah.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I feel
So you
very
have clients now and then, and wow.
I get
Wow.
yeah, I love it. I get to step fully into serving and I'm so grateful. So, you know, it gives me as much joy as it gives you when you're laughing and singing.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, how long did it take you to get your practitioner license or whatever you call it?
My spiritual counseling certification
Certification. Okay.
it took me 2 years,
Okay.
and it's a real complete program. We start with a week-long intensive with Jennifer in person
In
typically.
person. Nice.
So much healing happened for me just in that week. And then the certification has a lot of different wonderful things, you know, 111 sessions, and there's a whole list of requirements. And just doing all of that showed me how to show up as a presence, you know, and hold
Wow.
that space for people. So,
Well, I think you really are doing a great job.
oh, thank you. Thank you. And you as well.
Thank you.
And it's Billy, right?
Yeah, Billy.
You and Billy both are doing an amazing, amazing job. Where are the two of you located?
So we're in Los Angeles, near Redondo Beach area. Do you know,
Nice.
have you been out here?
I lived in San Diego for almost 10 years.
Oh, okay. That's a lot.
So, yeah, so I know the Redondo Beach area, and I have a friend that lives in North Hollywood,
Okay.
and I miss the West Coast a little bit.
Yeah, it's nice,
Yeah.
but you're near the beach still, so good for you.
Yep, from one coast to the other.
Yeah.
Mama
Yeah.
Ocean. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I'm from
So,
Kentucky.
oh, wow.
Yeah. We have 3 minutes left. Okay. Yeah, I
Lori,
grew up.
I'm
Yes,
sorry.
Lana. Go ahead,
Gerald,
Lana.
Gerald is back in the main room.
Oh, hey, Gerald, you're back. Welcome. And we were talking a little bit about your message and how it inspired us. And I was wondering if you wanted to take just a couple minutes and add anything else before people come back from the breakout for the folks on Facebook Live.
Just trust. And just trust.
Yeah.
Because you're surrounded by holiness, God, love, peace. I hit start my video now. It says connection is failed, so I will do something else.
And Lana, if you could spotlight him so that people could see him, that would be great. There you are. You're back.
Glad to be back.
Glad that you are back. Thank you for your powerful message. It was such a great reminder to see past the body's eyes, to see past these two eyes and really lean. I love that. Lean into the presence. That was really beautiful.
And of course, that means trust the presence. It has nothing for you, but really.
Yeah.
Mm.
So Lori, it's time to close all the rooms. Is that good with you?
Great. Yeah. Bring
Okay.
everybody back.
Okay.
Thank you so much, Gerald.
You are so welcome.
Everyone's going to start coming back from their breakouts.
Mm-hmm. This is such a complete level of joy. No complaints whatsoever.
It is.
Mm-hmm.
It's like this big bowl of God soup, spirit soup.
Say it a lot of different ways, but we're in God's soup.
Yeah.
Take that now. And not work yourself to death. Just trust.
Yeah, it
Be in this
is.
moment. Mm.
It reminds me of the first quality of the teachers of God in the manual for the teachers in A Course in Miracles, trust. Just beautiful.
It is right here.
Yeah, it is. So glad to be back from the breakout. And so this is that time during the service where you can choose to support the Power of Love ministry in doing this Sunday service and doing, this is our offertory time. And making an offering allows us to make a donation to our inspirational speakers and our musicians like Gerald and Andrea. It also allows us to experience the spiritual practice of tithing. And just wanted to take a moment and share how tithing completely shifted abundance and prosperity in my own life. I remember being in a class with Jennifer and having her talk about tithing. And so I thought, okay, let me give this a try. Let me see what this is all about. And that was, I don't know, at the very beginning of when I was in Masterful Living. Probably 6.5 years ago. And I remembered, okay, I'm going to try this. And the minute I did, my income started doubling, started tripling. It was like all from just doing 10% of whatever I brought in. And I thought, this is crazy. This is amazing. I never would have believed it had I not tried it. And that's when I started to see it was that spiritual practice of giving and receiving, because I started realizing that, and I started becoming more aware of what I was receiving and personally, whether it was a compliment or flowers from a friend or getting treated to dinner from another friend, or just having clients or money show up out of nowhere. And it completed that circuit and that cycle. And, that's how it changed my life. And once again, I would never have believed it had I not experienced it. So if you choose to take a moment and try it out. And even if you don't, that's okay too. We're going to go ahead and just relax into this moment. Let's all just place our hands on our heart and allow once again today's message from Gerald, the words of Andrea's songs, and the sharing during your breakouts to weave their way into your heart. Allowing yourself just to breathe into that for a few moments. I'll set a timer for about 2 minutes as you just enjoy doing that, so that we can steep further into that. You can choose how you'd like to spend that 2 moments in quiet reflection, either enjoying the spiritual practice of tithing or enjoying the spiritual practice of silence and meditation. Breathing into this beautiful space, expanding into the presence of all. The link, if you choose, is in the chat. Otherwise, you can sit here and just enjoy the love soup with all of us as you breathe into your heart. Taking it all in. Receiving the all good of God. Not needing to know how, just being willing to allow with each and every breath. Breathing into it, so grateful and thankful for all of the abundance and prosperity coming our way today. Grateful and thankful for the all good and all gifts of God. Grateful for our divinity. And we choose love now. We are willing to choose peace now. We are willing to choose wholeness now. As we step into the full prosperity and abundance of who we are, because that is our birthright. And before we step into our final song and prayer of the day, Andrea, do you have any announcements that you'd like to make or to share? And how can our participants connect with you if they'd like to hear more of your music?
Thanks for asking. You can find me at andrealane.org, but also we have a concert today at 4 p.m. Pacific. So we've been doing weekly concerts Sundays, 4 p.m. on my Facebook page. So I'm pretty easy to find on Facebook, but I will send up a link, okay? But also andrealane.org, O-R-G. Are you ready for your song? Thank you, Lori.
Yes. Yes, please.
Okay, this is called This Time. This time, God is using me. This time, I am trusting more. And I'm surrounded by 1,000 angels. Can I not feel all of this love? I'm surrounded by 1,000 angels. Can I not see all of this beauty? Just trust, just trust. This time I am open to love. This time I am free falling. And I'm surrounded by 1,000 angels. Can I not see all of this beauty? I'm surrounded by 1,000 angels. Can I not feel all of this love? Just trust, just trust, just trust, just trust. And it's getting easier, yeah. I'm stepping out on the skinny branch, and it's getting easier, yeah. I'm stepping out on faith, just trust, just trust, just trust, just
Oh, I love that. I love hearing your laughter during that too. Thank you so much, Andrea.
Thank you.
And I have also, for anyone interested, placed Andrea's link in the chat. If you are interested, please click on that to find out more about her. She shared during the breakout that they do Sundays, they do music online. And so if you'd like to find out more about her, you can go to andrealane.org. I've posted that in the chat. And if you'd like to know more about Gerald Collins, I'm going to post that in the chat right now as well. You can find out more about him, more about his books, and all of his wonderful offerings to the world. And before we go into our closing prayer, I'd like to share that we also have another Stop Playing Small online retreat coming up in mid-September. Jennifer asked me to share that. I haven't personally attended this retreat, but know so many people that have. Scott, before you pray us out, would you be willing to take a minute or two and share something about your experience of taking Stop Playing Small, maybe some of the benefits you received, and then pray out?
You got it. You read my mind. Yes.
Funny how that works.
Okay, so right now?
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't understand. Now I got it. Yes, I attended the Stop Playing Small retreat online. I think this was probably the first time that she had it online, and she was a little unsure how it would go. And it was amazing because it was spread out over 2 weeks. So we had 4 days, like Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. And then we had a few days to process everything, to integrate it. And then we met the next weekend as well. And in those 2 weeks, I made a tremendous growth in my own life. I let go of a tremendous number of false beliefs. You know, we have, of course, belief in God is healing belief, but I'm talking about limiting beliefs, like I'm not good enough and things like that. I let a lot of these beliefs go. I think like that I am bad and other things like that. I let that go and let go of all my victimization mode. And anyway, I feel so much freer. And now I'm out, I probably wouldn't have, done this, leading the prayer. I'm also working on my own music that I'm ready to share. And I was playing small, and I'm just ready to let God speak through me and let go of all that other nonsense. And it was a tremendous amount of growth in just 2 weeks. And I highly recommend it.
Thank you, Scott. Thank you for that share. It sounds like you got so much from it, and I can feel the energy. I can feel your energy. It's so much. It just feels so light. Are you ready to bring us home with the prayer?
You got it. Thank you for this honor. I put my hand on my heart. Invite you to do the same. Oh, we're so thankful and so grateful for the beautiful words that Gerald shared with us. Those beautiful stories that really remind us to see God in everyone. In everyone. So beautiful to see the beauty in everyone. To see everyone as God sees them. And the beautiful music of Andrea and the 1,000 angels that are with her. As we go through this week, and also thank you to her husband, Billy. As we go through this week, we are so thankful and grateful, and we are going to bring this week, this blessing with us this week, everything that we've learned, so that we see God in everyone this week, to know that 1,000 angels are with us in any time of crisis, to know that love is always with us as we choose love. And if we start not to choose love, we choose again. And a big thank you also to Lori for filling in and doing such a beautiful job. May we all remember to love. And so it is. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Have a beautiful, beautiful Sunday, everyone. Go with God. Mwah.